All right, what's up, Junkie Nation? He's back. Chris Wade, a PFL featherweight, a finalist in the PFL 2021 number 10 championships. He's a title contender, of course, along with his opponent, Movlid Khaybulaev. I want to make sure I get these guys' names right because both of these guys are beasts. They had great seasons, and now they compete on Wednesday, October 27th. I'm emphasizing that because the finals are on Wednesday. Welcome back, Chris Wade. How are you?
It's good to talk to you both again. I'm doing great.
You too, man. We've been with you along for the ride this whole season. It's been fun. Listen, man, you take this thing down in a couple weeks and you're on the Mediterranean on a yacht, remember?
That's right. I have not forgotten. And those things are in my mind, but I know that I got a tough one in front of me and that I need to stay focused.
Have all three weight cuts at featherweight gone smooth, just as planned, or was it rougher than you imagined?
I would say that like 1 out of 3 went pretty smooth. The other 2 were tough. And that's basically because I just chose that I didn't like the way I felt in the first fight, in the beginning of the fight. So I decided that I wanted to be bigger and like cut more water weight instead of run and diet and lose some muscle. So I made it tougher on myself. I like pulled more water out of my body, but I'm big as a result of that.
In the 3 fights, the middle one against Osmanov, you got your finish. So I hope it's not an obvious question, but of the 3 fights, which one did you feel like you performed the best? And I don't think it has to be the one with the finish just because it was a finish, because obviously there's a lot of respect for Bubba Jenkins, you being a wrestler, and what he did in his career. So of the 3, which one do you feel like, I mean, you really, really made your loudest statement and felt the best about?
I think I made statements in both of them, but in different ways. I think that I was overall my best in the Bubba Jenkins fight. I think I dominated that fight in every place that the fight took place in. The Ospinov fight, I think was my best example of what I can do when there's pressure on me and when someone's trying to finish constantly on their feet. I'm gonna be there. I'll stand up with you too, and I was proud of that. So there were different things, different challenges. One guy was an elite striker, the other guy was an elite grappler, and I was able to eventually dominate in both of their own specialties. So I give it an equal rating.
Okay. What kind of a message do you think you sent Movlid Khaybulaev from your resume of work in this season? Something has to be jumping out at him. What do you think it is when he watches your fights?
I think he's probably trying to key in on the fact that that I scramble pretty well. He's probably going to be looking to slow things down a little bit. I'm the collegiate, like folk style wrestler, and those style wrestlers typically do better in scrambles and in like wild situations because we're used to it. Freestyle is more like one explosion, get a takedown or get a lift and let the guy go. You don't really need to hang on to them, and that's what they wrestle internationally. So I think he's going to really try to be sure that he can control my hips and maintain control of the round that way.
Both of you guys had different roads to get here. What do you think of his road, the guys he went through, as opposed to the road that you took? What are the differences, and how do you think you would have done on that side?
Well, I think that I had one of the toughest roads in the PFL this season, personally. I know that it's coming from me, so some people will say, of course you're saying that, but I fought Anthony Dizzy first, who was nobody gave credit. He's a super tough fighter and a dark horse, and he's a extremely high-level grappler. His coach is a extremely accomplished international wrestler as well. So no one really knows him in America, and that was an extremely tough fight. Then I get basically given Ospinov on short notice because I only knew I was even fighting the guy for like 3 or 4 weeks, and he came out of the woodwork, super dangerous, and knocking everybody out, and I had to go toe to toe with him, and then I follow that one up with here's an NCAA champion, 4-time All-American, and you know, world champion at the junior level. So now deal with this, and also extremely athletic. So the 3 fights I've had have been pretty much top notch, in my opinion. His road is a little bit more, I think, worked out in his benefit. He had Lazar, I believe, first, who didn't really have a great season this year, kind of accepted takedowns and let him control the fight. And then Lance, who he basically did the same thing to as Bubba did to Lance. It's hard to tell and get a ton out of that fight because you just don't know how motivated Lance was this season or wasn't. It doesn't seem like he had a ton of motivation this year. He knew he couldn't win after like the second round. So it's kind of like what a mental letdown that is to try to win a fight when you already know you can't advance. And then the last fight, he fought a guy who's not a grappler either, and he was able to control that fight as well.
Hey Chris, so this journey that you've been on, there aren't a lot of people that can relate to what you've been through. And I'm talking about like high level fighters. Like you've been on point for some time where you haven't really been able to take any time off or with COVID and all that. Like you've been through a lot. So on this journey, the puzzles that you've had to solve, not just your opponents, but even within yourself, you were talking about the weight cuts and all that. Is there one thing that you can point to that surprised you the most about yourself on this journey?
I knew I had it, but I have like a mental fortitude that I don't think everybody or most people in this sport possess. I have the ability to endure and to grit through things, and I proved that to myself because I've spent so much time away from my family, stuck in a hotel, in a casino. I've spent sleepless nights right before I fight because I'm cutting so much weight that my body won't even turn off, and I'm just laying there like basically, feeling like you're dying, and I just endure a full night of watching the clock tick over minute after minute. Feels like eternity, and then facing adversity in multiple fights, in the Dizzy fight, in the Ospinov fight, and shrugging it off, just moving through it and proving that at the end that I'm going to be the one standing. So, man, this season I feel blessed. It's given me a test in so many different ways, and I'm proving to myself that I can pass these tests thrown at me.
Chris, forgive me for not knowing this to the T, but you'll have to weigh 145, both you and your opponent, for this one. And yes. I think I looked up some of your weigh-ins, and you came in at 145.5. I think there may have been a 146. That, I know for a lot of fans, I may be like, it's just a pound, but obviously it's a lot more than that. Did you have to budget for that, or how does that work? That extra pound that we hear that can be brutal on the body on fight week. I'm sure that's something you've already been thinking about and accounting for throughout this camp.
Yeah, I've thought about it. Just knowing that you got to get underneath, or to the 45.0 mark is it's a little more strenuous. But I made 45 last time because I stepped on the scale at 45.5, but I was drenched from sweat. I was drenched, still wearing like basically the underwear that I had made the weight in, which had to weigh at least the half a pound without the sweat that was just all over me, in my hair, on my body. I literally walked into the weigh-in room from the workout room, and I just knew I made weight on the other scale, so I didn't even care to like towel off or to see how low I could get. But I know we did it already, so I'm just gonna go out and do the same thing.
So this question, I think, goes different for many professional athletes. Prize fighters, like especially boxers, and especially like someone like Floyd, he'll talk about the money throughout the whole camp. Sometimes he'll tell you what he's making per round. He's obsessed with that, right? Maybe if you ask him, he'll tell you about the 6 belts he won, throughout his career. And then there's other athletes, like, for example, in football, when you win the Super Bowl, you're the world champion. But a lot of people don't know this. Every player on the team actually even gets a bonus, but we don't hear much about that. We hear about the trophy and all that. How about for you? What have you been consumed with more? The life-changing money or wearing gold? What do you catch yourself dreaming about and thinking about more?
Being honest, it's very even. I find myself constantly thinking about the just never-ending want to be a world champion, and that's what drives me first and foremost. I'm a competitor. I always want to win. I always want to get my hand raised. I'm out there every single time to beat someone. So when you're like the ultimate competitor, that's first and foremost in your mind, for your legacy, for your entire future. That sets you up in different ways. But I also do make quite a bit of daydreaming take place that involves the money that comes with the belt, and just how my opportunity, is here for those two things. And it's time to go take it. It's time to show that I'm the best, and that mistakes were made, like I said, in the past, by people overlooking me. And it's my goal to make sure that they know that mistakes were made.
Nice. All right. Well, I'll tell you something, man. Goz and I have had a chance to catch up with you before every fight. I feel like you're our horse this year. I remember one year, Vinny Magalhaes from our local gym here in Extreme Couture, we were like, go Vinny, and I know we're journalists, but man, we're not traditional journalists. So we just do this. All right. We're nutty. I remember Ray Cooper was our guy one year too, because the Hawaiians would come strong over at Mandalay Bay, and that's where our studio was located. But this year it's you, Chris Wade, man. I've enjoyed watching the ride. You faced some tough talent. And I will tell you, I think Movlid Khaybulaev has to be thinking this MFer is unbreakable. He knows he's in for a tough fight. And you showed us a lot of grit, man. And even going back to what you said, 17-day quarantine, I believe, your first fight. Your coaches, they couldn't join you right away. I mean, that had to be like almost like doing time, I guess. Obviously you were in a hotel, but geez, that had to have been a mind fuck if there ever was one.
It was like doing time. And yeah, it was. I equated it to that, yeah. And it genuinely was. But yeah, I don't know what's going through his mind, but I know what I am, and I know that he's got to kill me in there. And I know that no one's been able to do that at 55, and I'll be damned if somebody's going to do it to me at 45. So throw the kitchen sink at me. Let's go. Bring it. I want that. I want you to open up and swing and give me opportunities, and I'm going to find my mark somewhere.
So since you know that we're riding with you in a few weeks, and we also know you're a fan of other sports, will you be riding with us tonight when we play the Giants?
Oh, I will. Actually, I will.
Nice.
I'm a Met fan, but I have no ill will at all towards the Dodgers. I actually, in 2018, I fought in the in Long Beach for the playoffs, and I lost that really tough split decision in the semis to Schultz. And I stayed in Cali after, and I'm such a sports fan that I just bought like really nice Dodger Brewers NLCS tickets, and I went to Dodger Stadium for the first time in my life, and I just rooted for the Dodgers and watched the game. It was really cool. I sat in the worst traffic of my life, but it was it was a great experience. I loved going there, and just seeing a different culture, how they do baseball. It was really cool.
Yeah, Goz and I were at the baseball game when the Dodgers eliminated the Cardinals in the 1-game wild card. I don't know if you saw it, but it ended on a walk-off. It was pretty nutty.
I love it.
Yeah,
those are the best. I went to the wild card game with us and the Giants in 2016 when Syndergaard pitched, and we lost 1-0 to that like freaking bench third baseman who hit a home run off Familia. I was sick to my stomach. I still am. But yeah, I get to a lot of playoff sports. I love it. I love the ratcheted up intensity. That's where we're at right now. You know, this is title time. This is the World Series, the Super Bowl, and you know, big time competitors step up, and I'm planning to show you guys the best Chris Wade that you've ever seen, the most complete Chris Wade you've ever seen, the hungriest Chris Wade you've ever seen. You're gonna be like, this dude's on something. He's out of control right now, because my mentality is just locked in. I'm loving it.
Well, it certainly looked like you could have went 25 minutes, you know, in your previous fights, especially the last one. So we're not even questioning your grit, your desire, like I said, your toughness, your cardio. Can't wait for the fight. I did want to say one last thing here. Did we ever ask you, are you a fan of Impractical Jokers? Have you ever seen that show?
It's weird. I just was watching it last night. Yeah.
Syndergaard is on one of those episodes. It's hilarious. If you ever can maybe just Google it or something, maybe YouTube will give you a quick, you know, shortcut or whatever. But Syndergaard is a fan of those guys, and he was with them for the punishment at the very end. It was hilarious. I think you'd get a kick out of it.
Yeah. I was watching one of the punishments the other day, and they had made this guy drive like all over all day with like Muppets in the car singing over and over on one song on repeat, and he wanted to like just crash the car. It was great.
I haven't seen that one, but I can't wait. All right, my man. Hey, as always, it's great to talk to you. Good luck on the 27th. You know we'll be tuning in ESPN2 on October 27th. It's the PFL Championship, and Chris Wade here will be taking on Movlid Khaybulaev for the featherweight title. Thanks as always for your time.
Thank you both, and we will talk after I get this done. Okay?
Sounds good. We're in.
All right, man. You're the best. Thank you.